You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
We should start with Novak Djokovic, because this thing, he may have shot himself in the foot big time to actually play in the Australian Open. Now, I believe you said the same thing I said, Rose, that he's probably going to get kicked out.
Yeah, I think he'll get kicked out.
This is before the news we got today.
Right. Well, yeah, that was before the news, and now we find out about the faux pas with filling out his forms correctly, and we've got another issue. Now, I suspect me and you might differ a little bit about responsibility on that, considering his agent is most likely a lawyer. I would guess not all agents are lawyers, so I don't want to talk out of turn, but generally speaking, they are. And so there was something, that was missed there that I think his lawyers should have made sure he covered.
Yeah, and when we get into it, but basically Novak Djokovic is not taking personal responsibility for this. He is pretty much shifting the blame on his agent. We actually may differ on that, but we will get into that topic. Might as well just jump into it right now.
Let's do it.
Because now the Australian government, we know that they are looking for anything to get this man kicked out of the country and deported. We may now have the smoking gun now, because even Novak Djokovic has even admitted that the documents that he submitted, they're falsified. They are falsified. So check this out over here on Yahoo Sports. Novak Djokovic apologizes for human error on Australian immigration documents. So this is going to be interesting here. Let me move this ad right here. With the status of his visa and his participation at the Australian Open still in limbo, Novak Djokovic released a statement on Instagram Wednesday addressing his travel and COVID-19 status before arriving in Melbourne. In it, Djokovic apologized for a human error made by his agent in checking a box claiming that he hadn't traveled in the 2 weeks before his arrival in Australia. According to reports and social media posts, Djokovic traveled from his home country of Serbia to Spain in the time frame, contradicting what he declared on an Australian immigration document. Quote, "My agent sincerely apologizes." So I'm going to read what he actually posted here. "On the issue of my travel declaration, this was submitted by my support team on my behalf, as I told immigration officials on my arrival, and my agent sincerely apologized for the administrative mistake in ticking the incorrect box about my previous travel before coming to Australia. This was a human error and certainly not deliberate. We are living in challenging times in a global pandemic, and sometimes these mistakes can occur. So this is the apology, but he says, my agent sincerely apologizes. Novak Djokovic himself does not apologize. Now, guys, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, this is his travel document. Overall, it's his responsibility. That's my take on this. What is your take, Rhodes?
I'm going to blame his agent. His agent's the one that I'm sure handles all these kinds of affairs. He probably is not even present when this sort of thing is being done. On his level, as far as being an athlete, I would say the majority of elite athletes aren't going to be present when these kinds of things are being filled out. And if he was my agent, I would expect him to get this right. That's why he gets that expensive cut of whatever it is I'm making. The agent should be filling this out correctly so he doesn't have to worry about this. So, I mean, do we really believe he's the one that sat down and filled this out? I don't believe that for a second. If he says his agent did it, this is exactly what his agent is paid to do and do it right. So, no, I'm probably not gonna I'm not gonna blame him. Now, there's a caveat to all this. Let's recognize how ridiculous this is to begin with. He probably fills this out. He may fill this out even when there's not a pandemic. When he comes into Australia, he may have to do this every year. But let us recognize the fact that most likely they could either toss him back out of the country, or they could actually throw him in the pen over it, theoretically, I guess. But let us recognize that if we weren't in a political pandemic right now, and that's what it is, a political pandemic.
Yeah, this would be a nothing burger.
This would be a big old nothing, and he'd be playing in that tennis tournament. Nobody would be thinking twice about it. Why? Because he's carrying those money bags in with him that we've been talking about. The advertisers, all this, they'd be calling up the officials saying, really? You're not going to let him play over a check on a box in his immigration form? You better let that guy get in that tournament. But that's not going to happen right now because of, again, political theater and the political pandemic that we're in. Now, you also brought up the fact that, how is the Citizens going to react if he's ultimately let in, allowed to play, yada, yada, yada. Never mind the previous tennis player that actually got booted out. Varakova was the name of that player, correct?
Varakova, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So this is all being blown out of proportion, okay? If this happens in any other Australian Open year, does this even get an article from Yahoo Sports? I mean, really and truly, does it get an article?
No. It ain't just Yahoo Sports. There's other ones out there too reporting.
Yeah,
this.
I mean, but you get my point.
Right.
Because there's a possibility he's not going to be allowed to play in the tournament. What the mainstream media is doing right now is they're going to look and dig for everything. In this case, Reuters was one of the people looking and digging, providing false or misleading information on immigration declaration. They're looking for any way to nail him right now because he's unvaccinated. Yeah. It all comes down to that one word, unvaccinated. And I'm going to tell you how disgusting this has all become. Last night, I was reading some kind of sports article. I can't even remember what it was related to, but somehow I ended up on a website called sorryantivaxxer.com.
That's actually a website?
And that is a website run by, you're not going to believe this. Well, you are going to believe it. You are going to believe it, actually. Because as repugnant as I found this, aren't lefties supposed to be extremely accepting? And they really care about humans and life and all that. Isn't that what all this is supposed to be about from lefties?
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong? I'm right.
You're right.
Okay. Well, what sorryantivaxxer.com is, it is a website created by lefties celebrating the death of every anti-vaxxer that died of COVID.
Wow.
With their picture, with their quotes, showing their Facebook, showing Twitter posts. Anybody that they can find that died, they have the backstory for their posting, and like, if somebody posted something negative about Fauci, they screenshotted that along with their face, and they put it on this website, and it literally is just the faces of people that did not get vaxxed that died, and
that's crazy.
And the celebration of that. Now think about that. That's where we are. Okay, that's the same people you're dealing with Novak and him, because he trended on Twitter this morning. He was trending on Twitter this morning, and lefties were losing their minds over that one word, anti, not even anti-vax, unvaccinated, because they've decided to lump in people that's had both shots and their boosters, but don't agree with mandates into the anti-vax community. Think about that.
Do you know that roughly only about half of tennis players have gotten a jab?
That doesn't shock me at all. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't shock me, you know.
And I'm thinking it's probably because tennis players are like some of the most fit people on the planet. You know what it takes to, especially if you're a male tennis player at the Grand Slams, best of 5 sets. If you go in 5 sets, man, some of those matches are like 5 hours long. I would say on average 3. And you get very few breaks. So you got to be in peak physical condition to play tennis. But Novak Djokovic is facing upwards of 12 months in prison, a whole year, for falsifying the document. Now, he's come out, he's admitted it, but he's shifting the blame. Do I think he's actually going to do 12 months in prison?
No,
I don't think so.
No.
I believe that the Australian government, what they really want to do is they want to deport him. They want him out the country. So I believe that's why I strongly believe that's going to happen. Today's Wednesday. Australian Open starts on Monday. He's going to be out of there in the next couple of days. I mean, that immigration minister waiting for any little slip up. And this is a major slip up on paperwork, whether you believe this is a mistake or not.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.